Hey guys, my name is Philipp. I'm one of the co-founders of Rudy Capital. I actually started here at Frankfurt School Blockchain Center actually almost 4 years ago. Was one of the first employees here with Philipp Sandner. So it's always a pleasure coming back here to my alma mater. I also did my master's here at Frankfurt School. So thank you very much for being so brave, still being here, listening to my presentation. And today I want to shed some light on how to stabilize actually the world of decentralized finance and why is that actually necessary. Despite, as you can read, the vast amount of opportunities, there are still a lot of obstacles for institutional investors as well as for retail investors investing into DeFi. And one of the main obstacles is the extremely high volatility in the market. The extremely high volatility, we can see it today, we saw it yesterday, and we will see it tomorrow. So, for example, if we look at the Bitcoin, the max drawdown here is 83%, and now just imagine being an employee of a bank and of a family office, you have a hard time investing into DeFi with these kinds of drawdowns. Then secondly, the risk assessment is pretty difficult. Of course, all the financial risks are present, are known, but when we talk about DeFi, we actually talk about technology, about software. So software can fail, software can be buggy, smart contracts can be buggy, can be exploited. So it's really hard for people not knowing about risk management to actually then engage with DeFi. Thirdly, you really need deep expertise, and that's actually connected to the second point. There actually aren't not enough people on the market knowing about DeFi, how to actually use DeFi to invest sustainably into DeFi. I mean, investing in DeFi is actually pretty simple, just try it out, but really being successful in DeFi is a pretty hard thing. And last but not least, the market infrastructure is still pretty complex. So the market access is impeded by opaque regulation. So regulation is a big chunk in Germany, for example. The investment infrastructure is pretty fragmented. And if you have yourself dealt with a DeFi protocol before, I think you would confirm that the user experience is sometimes not that good, to put it that way. And we at Rudy Capital, our mission is to empower investors, so retail investors and professional investors with, for example, a unique and reliable investment portfolio that delivers consistent returns and regardless of market conditions. So there we are in the market neutral sphere. We also advise clients with other kinds of products, but this is our first product, so the market delta neutral product DeFi. So what we believe is that investing in DeFi should be at first simple, then secondly accessible for everybody and stress-free. So we really follow some kind of a set and forget process. So this is one of the products we were developing for one of our clients, which is actually pretty successful. So there we are targeting strong returns, so 15% per year. We're actually a bit above since last year of like 16%. We have investment thesis of like a near zero correlation to, at first, crypto assets, and secondly to traditional assets like, for example, the MSCI World. We are seeking, with our market neutral procedure approach, neutral volatility. So we have a drawdown maximum drawdown of under 3%, and we also are offering to our clients like fully regulated and audited products. So what are actually our selected strategies we are running in DeFi? So this is really high level. If you want to know more about the specifics of our strategies, please get in touch with us. So first of all, we are engaging with lending and borrowing protocols, but primarily we are doing liquidity provision. For example, on decentralized spot exchanges, decentralized derivative exchanges, we are there acting as a market maker, for example, providing liquidity there, and then are profiting from so-called trading fees. So when people are trading over these pools in DeFi, for example, on Uniswap, we are getting our fair share, currently at 0.3%, and this is our revenue stream. We also have other strategies. We are able to do market neutral, which, for example, is protocol staking, liquidity staking, as well as network staking. When it comes about DeFi, I told you before that risk management is a huge part of our work. So where are actually the risks when investing into DeFi? So at first we have the blockchain risk. we are observing. So whether you are on an L1 or L2, you have to see or look what is the degree of decentralization, for example, what is the market capitalization of the certain kind of blockchain, what is the total value locked, as well as the consensus algorithm is really important. Then secondly, on the second level, we have the protocol risk. So the protocol you're engaging with, so the software, the dApp you're engaging with, for example, Uniswap. There we check for time on mainnet, for example, so how long is the protocol actually running. That's a good indicator if it's stable. If it has public audits, so who is actually, who was auditing this protocol, who was it, then the absolute liquidity, who is then actually running the protocol, so the protocol administration. Are the people doxed, so are they known, or is it just a bunch of people which are anonymous? And also we are looking, for example, when we look about exchanges, we look at the oracles. And last but not least, which what many people forget when engaging with DeFi, you cannot miss the market risk as well. So volatility, for example, impermanent loss is a huge risk. Then, for example, stablecoin DPEX, we have seen with USDC just 2 weeks ago. And, of course, macroeconomic factors, which, of course, have influence also on the decentralized world. Here, a small excerpt to our risk management. So we are calculating our risk ourselves. So, for example, here you can see Uniswap, a very strong protocol, a blue chip protocol. There you can see that smart contracts and team is pretty strong, documentation is really strong, testing is strong, security is also very strong, and also the admin controls. Curve Finance is a protocol which is safe as well, GMX. I love that protocol, you should check it out if you have time. For example, Beefy Finance and SpookySwap, both running on Phantom, is nothing we would engage with as they are lacking, for example, documentation. And for example, when we talk about SpookySwap, also testing and also documentation. So this is a big part of our work, really assessing these protocols to make sure that we are able to invest market neutral. So market neutral is not only about like the finance, but also about the underlying technology. So how do we actually hedge our positions? So we have certain kinds of risk layers. First, we have the market risk. So there's the price risk of certain kind of crypto assets. The mitigating instrument for that are so-called perps, perpetual futures, like short positions, or we borrow these assets. Then when we talk about the impermanent loss, it's actually a pretty expensive thing to hedge, but there are exotic options to really being able to hedge the impermanent loss. We try to avoid that, so we are trying to find actually pools which have enough trading fees that we don't need to hedge the impermanent loss. Then when we talk about stable coins, of course, we either borrow these stable coins or are buying insurances, for example, Nexus Mutual, to really make it safe. When we talk about the blockchain and the protocol risks, we have to keep the smart contract hacks and bugs in place. So, of course, there's no way around diversification, also in DeFi. So you need to spread your capital on different kind of protocols. And as well, for example, in Nexus Mutual, there's possibility of really ensuring the protocols against hacks, for example, governance attacks, and so on. Then blockchain risk, you can't really hedge blockchain risks except for diversification. So really make sure that you don't deploy all your capital on one blockchain. Try to diversify there a bit. And custody is also a big part. So we really need to make it professional. You need to have a multi-step approval process with MPC technology. Like known providers are there, for example, Fireblocks and Credo. On top of that, we are also building software for that, so we have a constant monitoring and alerting system. So when some of these factors are going under or above a certain kind of threshold, we get warned, and it's fairly automated, everything. But sometimes we need to manually interact with that. I mean, you certainly have heard about like 10,000% yield per year in DeFi. That's then where we are in the sphere of reward tokens most of the time. So we are really following this real yield narrative. So we are only engaging with protocols which are sustainable, so non-incentivized yield income, so really trading activity on derivative exchanges, for example. We try to avoid reward tokens. Reward tokens are inflationary. Of course, reward tokens can be quite beneficial when we have a bull run, as they gain in value pretty quickly. But this is not like a market neutral strategy you want to follow, and this is not like how to stabilize your portfolio. How do we actually invest? So we have a huge strategy pool of certain kind of strategies, currently over 2,800. These are then hedging strategies, lending strategies, liquidity mining strategies, for example, staking, insurance strategies. These are then summarized in a strategy pool. And then we are doing a risk and return assessment. So how much risk do I need to take per return? There we check for example, the smart contract risk, also the financial risks, centralization risk. Sentiment is also a really powerful tool in DeFi. So just look to Twitter. Sometimes when it's about stablecoins is like a referee. When it's talked about a referee, sometimes things, or most of the time, things are wrong. If people tweet a lot about stablecoins, you can be sure that something is going sideways. So this could be a great indicator for example, a stablecoin DPEG before it really happens. And then we calculate the risk and return score, and according to the risk and return score, we are actually doing a strategy allocation. And right now, we then summarizing the 12 to 15 most attractive strategies and allocate them based on the risk and return ratio. Why are we actually capable of doing that? So we are a team of really early adopters. Working at the FSBC myself, we got in contact with DeFi pretty early on. So we were one of the first users of DeFi. Then we have really technical talent in the team. To be able to deliver strong DeFi products, you need actually to code, read smart contracts, and so on. We have built our own risk management software, where we, for example, manage our collateral management, manage our insurances, and so on. We have an extensive network of different kind of DeFi players. Especially when active in the DeFi world, you need to be active on Twitter, on Discord, so that's a bit different from the traditional world. We have best-in-class infrastructure with our software, for example. We use best-in-class custody, and also we have built our own analytics software where we can actually see things before they actually happen. This is our team. Last slide. So my co-founder Thomas, it's me, it's also Christian. Our advisors is Philipp Sandner, Peter Hoffmann, and also Ulrich Spindler. You might have heard of these guys. I think you know Philipp. And yes, please get in touch with us if you want to know more about DeFi. We also are in the process of building our own indices and our own on-chain vaults. So if you want to know more about that, we are pretty open for talking to you, having a short introduction call. And thank you very much for my time and for your time. And I wish you a nice evening. Thank you.